Cindy James was the kind of woman who seemed to have it all together. A dedicated nurse, smart, disciplined, the type of person everyone admired as put together. But beneath that calm and collected surface, there was a storm brewing that nobody could quite put their finger on. In 1982, shortly after her divorce from her husband, psychiatrist Roy Mackpeace, Cindy started to experience something truly terrifying. She claimed she was being stalked. Her first police report laid it all out. She was getting anonymous calls, felt like someone was always watching her home, and found things moved around or even broken. It was harassment, plain and simple. The scary part, it could have been anyone, a disgruntled patient, a random stranger, you name it. But what happened next was something that would spiral into a nightmare beyond comprehension. Over the next 7 years, Cindy reported more than 100 incidents. Can you imagine? From threatening phone calls that made her heart race to slashed pillows, eerie notes left on her car, and even dead cats hung from her garden trees. She said her stalker broke into her home, rearranged her personal belongings in bizarre ways, cut her phone lines, and injected her with mysterious substances. Each time she reached out to the police, she was shaking, terrified, and bruised. But here's the kicker. Despite all the chaos, nobody ever caught the stalker. Not once. No fingerprints, no footprints, no suspects. It was like the person tormenting her was a ghost slipping through the cracks of reality, leaving Cindy alone in her fear. Her family believed her. Her friends believed her. But the police, they started to wonder. They suspected that maybe Cindy was creating the attacks herself. That maybe she wasn't the victim of a stalker, but the prisoner of her own mind. Cindy didn't take this lightly. She switched houses, changed her name, got a private investigator, and even installed security cameras. But the harassment followed. One night, her Ozzie Cabin, found her lying in her car, semi-conscious, naked from the waist down, hands and feet bound with nylon stockings, and a black stocking tied tightly around her neck. She'd been injected with something, but no fingerprints were found on the syringe. Cindy said she didn't know who had done it. Cabin thought she might be doing this to herself, unconsciously, staging attacks during blackouts. But how do you tie yourself up like that, strangle yourself until you pass out, and still survive? That was the question that made the case so infamous. Every theory seems too impossible to believe, yet one of them had to be true. Cindy was committed to a psychiatric hospital for a short period after a particularly brutal attack left her traumatized. She told doctors that she feared for her life, that whoever was after her would kill her soon. But every time she was released and tried to rebuild, the fear returned. She told her family she thought the police were in on it. She claimed someone had bugged her phone, that she was constantly being watched, followed, and manipulated. By 1989, Cindy was exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally. The people closest to her said she seemed to be fading, slipping into herself. Then, one night in May, she vanished. Her car was found in a parking lot, blood on the driver's side door, groceries still inside, and the trunk slightly open. Her wallet, ID, and credit cards were neatly tucked under the car. Her friends and family knew instantly that something was wrong. Cindy never went anywhere without telling someone. 2 weeks later, a body was found in a nearby abandoned house. It was Cindy, lying on the ground, fully clothed, decomposing. Around her neck, once again, was a black nylon stocking. Her hands and feet were tied behind her back. Toxicology showed a lethal dose of morphine and other sedatives in her system. The official verdict? Death by an overdose and subsequent strangulation. But the question remained, was it suicide or murder? If it was suicide, how could she tie herself up like that? If it was murder, who did it? And how did they manage to keep this up for 7 years without ever being seen? Her ex-husband claimed she suffered from severe mental illness and could have staged everything herself, including her own death. her family rejected that idea completely. They said Cindy was truly terrified that she knew someone was out there and that her death was the final act in a long campaign of torment. Then there were the phone calls. For years after her death, Cindy's family received strange, silent phone calls at night. They'd answer, and all they'd hear was breathing, slow, deliberate, as if someone was letting them know the story wasn't over. To this day, there's just no clear answer that feels right. If Cindy was struggling with mental illness, then her mind was incredibly powerful, capable of creating physical scars, tying knots, and injecting herself with drugs, all while having no memory of it. On the flip side, if she was indeed being stalked, then her tormentor was one of the most patient and invisible criminals in history, slipping through the cracks of every investigation. Either way, Cindy James's life became this haunting loop of fear, a relentless cycle she couldn't escape, even in death. Her case remains officially unsolved, which is just mind-boggling. The police closed it, claiming there was no evidence of foul play, but those who knew her best still firmly believe Cindy didn't take her own life. Someone was out there, lurking in the shadows, wanting her to die, believing that no one would ever believe her story. And honestly, that's the darkest part of this whole saga. It's not just the violence or the fear, but the chilling silence that consumed her, a woman crying out for help for years, only to vanish into a mystery that no one could ever truly unravel. It's heartbreaking, isn't it?